Snacks in it. It's rolling like crazy. Yeah. When that water's still coming up, boy, they really go crazy.
Good morning. Well, Christine's looking awful pretty in her hat.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Some big ones in.
Beautiful hat too.
Monsters. Them big ones get hard to clean. I like to get them about 2 or 3 pounders. It's you can handle pretty easy. Yeah, that's what we do. It's just a lot easier. You don't. I can't believe we used to skin them when we was kids. That was chop them horns off and skin them.
Jim's headed to Tulsa to some more packing, so
Good.
I'm gonna have to find a ride this afternoon.
Get you to, do you want to go back to Commerce or to Dales?
Put on a full face helmet, but I didn't.
Breezy.
It was breezy, let me tell you. Yeah, and I should have put on a little. Put on my. Oh,
Well,
yeah. We had to whip right through that one. Let me tell you. Yeah.
nope. Nothing in the meeting minutes because I was the secretary treasurer at the time. Never even got to the. Oh, just sometime this week. Just
Anytime. Put it,
Yeah.
We're gonna put it over.
We can. Get it back and write.
Well,
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can just put it. Just write on it.
American Native
Veteran or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Folks, my allergies this morning are giving me fits. About 2:30, 2:45. We actually left early because we didn't know how about the weather for sure. And that's why I was inquiring because it got so bad. My gosh, did you see the water that's still standing? I was kind of surprised. Yeah, she did. Yeah. Mhm. Oh, okay.
Well, and everything was already so saturated.
Yeah. Just thinking about going up, but then I forgot today is Grant's prom, so I'll be on Teams for the DDA meeting. DDA. Personnel, it'll be okay. we went to the tribal summit. Oh my God, is it white coffee?
Yeah, I added a lot of water in mine.
Got the water down by knocking it. Yeah. Boy, it's. I haven't tasted it yet.
Didn't mean to make it like that.
I even added quite a bit of water to mine.
I needed to calm me down a little bit.
Folks, we're going to get started in 1 minute, so please take your seats.
Okay, I'll let him know.
There was a lot of representation that what region the Mexico tribes. Ready?
The Quapaw Nation Business Committee regular meeting for Saturday, April 18th, 2026 will now come to order at 9 a.m. Barbara Collier, would you please lead us in the prayer?
Please pray with me. Good morning, dear Lord. Thank you for this beautiful day. Just guide and direct us as Quapaw people through this meeting today. Help each and every one to make the right decisions, say the right things, and do the right things. Thank you for blessing us as you have, and please be with those that have lost loved ones along this month. Guide and direct each and every one that's sick and afflicted. Lord, thank you for helping us get through this affliction that we've had, and each and every one that has had something. Just be with each and every decision that the Quapaw people make, Lord, and help us through this life that we can do what's right and do what's profitable and best for our people. Thank you for all the blessings that you give us. We can never repay you for each and every day that we breathe this air and live in this wonderful, beautiful land. Thank you again for all your blessings, and be with us each and every one throughout this meeting, and take us home so that they'll be better than they were when we left. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take roll call and declare quorum?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Chair Supernaw,
Present.
Vice Chair McKibben,
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Valier, present. Member Mercer,
Present.
Member Davis,
Present.
Member Buffalo, Member Gibbswater.
Present.
Madam Chair, I declare a quorum.
Would you please call for orders of the day?
Madam Chair, I call for the orders of the day.
Business Committee, are there any corrections to the documents listed as part of the consent agenda? The consent agenda includes the March 21st, 2026 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as submitted. Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and proceed to the vote. All those in favor of adopting and approving the March 21st, 2026 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as distributed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The March 21st, 2026 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports are adopted as distributed. Away. The following tribal members passed away since we last met: Patricia Williams, James Harrison Mathis, David Blair, Myron Dennis Quapaw, Chris Allen Hunt, Michael Perry Matthews, and Carol Jean Green. Please lift these Quapaw families and all families in your prayers, and let us join in a moment of silence. Uga'xpa. We do have some announcements this morning. Member Mercer, would you please provide a Ray Property Homes O-Guah-Pah Tikita project update?
Yes, Madam Chair. I am pleased to announce that we turned over 2 weeks ago, we turned the keys over to housing on the last house. So all the houses are completed. We have one house they will be moving into, and then that leaves one home, which is an ADA home. But we have 2 or 3 applications that nobody has completed yet. So we have that house. It will be occupied here very shortly if they get all their requirements in to move into the home. And then we still have remaining people waiting on houses, which we do not have. But I am proud that the nation was able to provide new homes for 30 families.
Wonderful news. Thank you. Member Davis, would you please give an update on the Cooperative Wildland Fire Management Agreement?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Hawaii. While the nation awaits the response for to the cooperative agreement, efforts continue regarding the development of the fire fuels program. I, along with staff members from the Forestry and Resource Management, have attended recent meetings. While we continue to take part in meetings as they present related to the Wildland Fire Service transition phase, the transition phase includes participating agencies and leadership roles, review of past fire and fuels projects, future planning and initiatives, along with concerns regarding the integration into the Wildland Fire Service. In addition, we will engage in trainings that aligns with the expansion of programmatic service. As stated before, as we move forward on the development of this program and the expansion, I'll continue to keep you updated. Gonna go.
Thank you so much. Vice Chair McKibben, I believe you have an announcement this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Next Friday, we will be doing our trash pickup again. We'll start here, and then we'll start at either Promenade Bridge or in town by the OLC, and we'll hopefully meet in the middle somewhere. We're going to try to pick this up a little earlier than we did last year, because last year the weeds kind of got tall, but we'll provide some water, some bug spray, some safety vests, some grabbers, hopefully a couple side-by-sides, and anybody that wants to volunteer, if you can come out for just a little while, that's fine. If you can stay for the whole time, that's great. So we're just trying to pick up our trash around the reservation here. There are also going to be a tire trailer to recycle your used tires if you have any laying around. Take those up just by the OLC on the northwest corner, by the little red barn we have. There's going to be a tire truck or trailer there, so just if you have used tires you want to get rid of, now is the time to do it. This is kind of in conjunction with Earth Day. We didn't plan it that way, but Linda kindly pointed out that it's Earth Day this week, so it's pretty close by. So we're just trying to pick up our trash and make the place a little prettier. So, and recycle other goods there as well. There's cardboard, aluminum, and plastic as well. So if you are a recycler, use those trailers and fill them up. Thank you all.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please provide an update on subcommittee appointments and any vacancies?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The new Economic Development Committee is currently seeking interested parties to serve on the committee. If you are interested in serving on the new Economic Development Committee, please send an email to brent.devine@quapawnation.com along with a statement of how you feel you can contribute to the new Economic Development Committee, as well as all appropriate contact information. The deadline for applying for the new Economic Development Committee is end of business Friday, May 8th. The Quapaw Nation Tax Commission is currently seeking interested parties to serve on the commission. If you are interested in serving on the Quapaw Nation Tax Commission, please send an email to brent.devine@quapawnation.com along with a statement of your qualifications and how you feel you can contribute to the Tax Commission, as well as all appropriate contact information. The deadline for applying for the Tax Commission is the end of business Friday, May 8th. Subcommittee appointments. Cybersecurity Planning Committee. The following is newly appointed to the Cybersecurity Planning Committee to fulfill the CIO position. Michael Richardson. Does the Business Committee concur with the new appointment to the Cybersecurity Planning Committee?
Yes. Congratulations, Mikey.
Even though he's not here. And he already knew about it. We already had the conversation, so he's not being thrown under the bus.
Would you go ahead and provide updated casino financials as well as the quarterly financials for the nation?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll start with the quarterly financials for the nation. Quapaw Nation Enterprises. There should be in your packets the financial statements, and you'll see on there that they have the current second quarter along with year to date, what the budget is, and the budget variance for the year. We're just going to kind of hit the highlights on these. So Quapaw Services Authority for second quarter of fiscal year 2026 had total revenue was $4,650,990.21. Total expenses of $3,005,228.05. Net interest expense of $32,724.38, leaving a net income of $1,620,027.78. Quapaw Cattle Company for the second quarter of the fiscal year of 2026 had total revenue of $1,265,966.85. Total expenses of $2,281,943.60, leaving a net loss of $1,015,976.75. Quapaw Counseling Services for the second quarter of fiscal year 2026 had total revenue of $481,790.19. Total expenses of $347,458.80, leaving a net income of $134,331.39. Quapaw Food Services Authority for the second quarter of fiscal year 2026 had total revenue of $421,195.94. Total expenses of $731,246.09, leaving a net loss of $310,050.15. O-Guah-Pah Communications for the second quarter of the fiscal year 2026 had total revenue of $219,830.89. Total expenses of $208,874.80, leaving a net income of $10,946.09. Quapaw Nation General Funds. I'm just going to provide the summarized data for the general funds. Again, you'll see the detailed information in the financial statements provided to you for your review on your own. Quapaw Nation General Funds for the second quarter of fiscal year 2026 had total revenue of $10,396,653.55. Total expenses of $17,368,336.10. Net other income of $168,588.92, leaving a net difference of a negative $6,803,093.63. Now on to casino operations financials. For the Saracen Casino financials for the month of 2026, net gaming revenues totaled $19.6 million and finished as the best month ever for Saracen. Slots continue to lead the way with increased coin-in of 2.3% over prior year. Sportsbook handle wagers finished down to prior year with 4.8% decrease. Sportsbook hold was 6.5% compared to the 2.3% in the prior year. Sportsbook performance is now being impacted by FanDuel and DraftKings entering the market on March 20th, 2026. Earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, EBITDA, for the month of March 2026 was $6.8 million and was down 14.8% or 1.1 million compared to prior year of 7.9 million. Downstream casino financials. For the month ending March 31st, 2026, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, EBITDA, totaled $8.8 million with a margin of 45.6 for March. Downstream was just short of budgeted expectations by $24,000 or less than 0.3%. For the second quarter, Downstream exceeded the budget expectations by $933,000 or 3.8% for fiscal year 26. They are currently exceeding budget by $2.3 million or 4.8%. Net income for the month totaled $7.5 million with a margin of 38.8%. This represents a small positive balance variance of $2,000. Net income compared to March 2025 showed a negative variance of $155,000. Quapaw Casino financials for February 2026 were received after the March Business Committee meeting and are as follows. For the month ending February 28, 2026, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization finished at $388,655 with a margin of 22.33%. February's EBITDA results reflected positively versus budget by $113,235 and favorable versus prior year by $44,380. Year-to-date EBITDA results are favorable to budget by $13,490 and prior year by $266,943. Net income for the month totaled $309,320 with a margin of 17.77%. Net income exceeded budget by $61,000 but fell short by $12,000 versus prior year. The Quapaw Casino financials for March 2026 were not available yet and will be reported during the May 2026 Business Committee meeting. That concludes our financials. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Secretary Treasurer. I'm just going to roll through some of the past events we had this last month, and there were plenty. So we did hold a special general council last month on March 21st. Quapaw Nation Language Department on March 24th, that was their final winter online course. And earlier this week, on the 14th and 15th, they commenced the spring lunch and learn classes where participants shared a meal provided by the department and practiced speaking the Quapaw language in a welcoming community setting. March 25th, 26th, and 27th, Wisdom Keepers digital classes were held at the museum classroom. The spring gathering was on March the 28th. It was very, very successful, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that from the Culture Committee. But one thing I did not realize was that the volunteers, and thank you very much for all the volunteers and the Events Committee and everybody that contributed to the spring gathering, 6,500 eggs were hidden. That's a lot of Easter eggs. Oh, my goodness. So with the prizes and candy, and there were, was it 10 or 20 of them that were golden, had $20 Walmart gift cards in them. So congratulations to those that found those. But there was a whole lineup of events that day that there was something for everyone to really enjoy. From the Quapaw Nation Family Services and Quapaw Nation Higher Ed, they hosted an April 1st skirts made by children from the Quapaw Nation, and they were featured online in an auction. That auction closed earlier this week, and the winning bids were announced yesterday. So congratulations to them. On April 7th, the Quapaw Nation Department of Public Safety, along with Family Services, hosted an MMIP walk, and there's another one coming up here in May. On April 13th and 14th, the youth pottery class took place at the Susie Moore Pottery Studio under the instruction of Betty Gadke, and the class was limited to 10 students, and what they focused on was making items for gifts for Mother's Day, which is really awesome. The Quapaw Nation Higher Education, and Family Services, Higher Ed, April 1st, there was a Jobs and Career Workshop series that began, and the session focused on career assessments and career exploration, helping participants better understand their strengths, interests, and possible career paths. Then on April the 8th, the Jobs and Careers Workshop Series number 2 took place, and that session focused on resume building. Then on April 15th, the third series took place, and the session focused on soft skills and communication on the job, helping participants strengthen workplace communications. Then on the Quapaw Nation Powwow Committee on April the 14th, O-Guah-Pah Communications was asked to make an online request from viewers for gently used Quapaw Powwow t-shirts from years past. A blanket will be made from the donated t-shirts and will be auctioned off at a later date. So please go through drawers and try to find, old Quapaw Powwow t-shirts that you might want to donate. And t-shirt quilts are incredibly beautiful. They're very heavy, difficult to work with, but we're excited about that. Can't wait to buy chances. April the 16th was National Librarian Day. We recognized and celebrated our outstanding librarian, Patty Billings. Patty has worked tirelessly to preserve Quapaw Nation history through the Mobile Digitization Lab, expanding access to digital tools and health resources. She's done a great job in obtaining grants and facilitating the growth and access of resources. And thank you, Patty, for all that you do. We appreciate you. Please note that the museum hours have changed for your convenience, so instead of closing Monday through Thursday at 5, they're actually staying open until 7 o'clock on Tuesday evenings, and their hours are from 8 to 4 on Friday. April the 17th, there was a cornhole tournament at Bricks and Brews, and that was hosted by the Powwow Committee. I hope the weather didn't interrupt those plans. For upcoming events, they're continuing Lunch and Learn O-Guah-Pah language classes at the Native American Church Summer House. They're on these dates: April 21st, 22nd, then on April 28th and 29th, then on May 5th and 6th. The Quapaw Nation Farmers Market and Food Hub is holding on April the 20th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come plant with us. I think the flyer was already released. So this is a community garden planting event at the new community garden across from the gymnasium. You can park at Title VI, the museum, or on the gravel near the former pavilion site, north of the new garden. Seeds and small plants will be provided for the community garden. Please bring your garden gloves and wear comfortable clothing. For more information, contact the Farmers Market Monday through Saturday from 8 to 4. This project is supported by OSU, CIIHE, IFA grant partners, and everyone is welcome to attend. May the 1st through 29th, ending at 4 p.m., the Quapaw Nation food distribution sign-up was going to be made available online. So that's right around the corner. Again, it's May 1st through the 29th. Please remember that a registration confirmation will be sent to you. If the confirmation isn't emailed to you, the form didn't go through. Please call the Quapaw Nation Farmers Market if there are any questions about registration. Quapaw Nation Higher Ed, April 22nd, they've got another Jobs and Careers workshop that'll be taught. This one is going to focus on interview preparation, helping participants prepare for job interviews with tips on answering questions, presenting themselves professionally, and building confidence. On April the 29th, so just that following week, there's a number 5 workshop, and that'll wrap up the April classes. But that one will focus on mock interviews, allowing participants to practice interview skills and receive feedback to improve confidence and readiness for real job interviews. The session times are from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., and the dates and times and specific locations have already been released on a flyer. On May the 6th, From 6 to 7:15 is going to be a vehicle maintenance class. Boy, do I need that. More information is coming about this in-person class to be held at the community building right here. May 13th, there's another class on living on your own. Mark your calendars to attend the class, which will be in person and also virtual. More information will be provided soon. Then on May the 20th from 6 to 7, with an additional session from 7 to 8, living on your own, self-care classes will take place at the Quapaw Nation Community Building. There is a downstream health and wellness fair on April the 30th. So that's at the Downstream Casino Health and Wellness Fair. That'll be at the Pavilion from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. All Quapaw Nation tribal citizens, Downstream Casino, Quapaw Casino, and Quapaw team member employees can attend. There'll be free health screenings, wellness tips and resources, fitness demos, fun giveaways, prizes, and vendor booths with great information. If you have any questions, please contact the Downstream Human Resources Department. That's be an exciting event. Then O-Guah-Pah Communications and the Higher Ed Department, May 1st is the deadline for graduate submissions for the Quapaw Post. Quapaw Nation graduates are invited to submit a photo and a short bio for possible inclusion in the spring issue of the Quapaw Post. Again, all submissions must be received by May 1st and email your graduate's photo and short bio to communications@ogahpahcommunications.com. The Department of Public Safety and Family Services on May 5th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. will be our next MMIP walk at 4th and Main here in Quapaw, beginning at the Quapaw Nation Roadside Park with refreshments provided afterwards. Walkers are welcome and greatly appreciated. April 29th will be Denim Day, which wraps up Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Quapaw Nation Family Services invites you to join us in recognizing Denim Day by wearing denim that Wednesday. You can participate by wearing denim that day, start conversations about respect and consent, show support for survivors in our community, and help raise awareness and promote prevention. National Nurses Week for this year runs from Wednesday, May 6th to Tuesday, May the 12th. The week-long celebration always begins on National Nurses Day and concludes on Florence Nightingale's birthday, May the 12th, honoring the contributions and commitment of nurses across the country. On May 12th, the Youth Connections program is hosting a ribbon work pillow class from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., taught by Mary Jacobs. This class will take place tentatively in the community building here and is open to all tribal youth ages 5 to 24. No prior experience necessary, and all supplies will be provided. Parents and guardians are encouraged to participate alongside their youth. These opportunities are made possible by our youth director, Kristen Keys, and are generously supported through a federal SAMHSA grant. To register, do not delay in contacting Family Services Youth Department by emailing kristen.keys@quapawnation.com. May 31st is the four-man scramble golf tournament at Eagle Creek Golf Course, hosted by the Powwow Committee. Tee-off will be at 9 a.m. sharp. The entry fee is $300 per team and includes 18 holes of golf, a cart, and lunch. A team limit of 25 teams has been firmly set. The registration deadline is May 1st at 4 p.m. Registration forms may be downloaded from the Quapaw Nation website. Please contact Sean Ellick or Lana Ellick with any Quapaw fundraiser questions. Quapaw Nation Juvenile Fairs, they have an announcement. April 1st through May 31st is the Quapaw Nation Youth Summer Clothing Donation Drive. The drive is a great opportunity to support our community by donating gently pre-worn or new summer clothing. The following items are needed. Children's clothing, teen clothing, summer wear, footwear, and that includes shoes and sandals. All sizes are needed and greatly appreciated. The drop-off locations are the Kahota Center, Admin Office, and the Title VI building. If you would rather coordinate a pickup time, have a question, or need additional information, please contact Tiffany Hembry at 918-238-3175. Your continued generosity and support are needed and appreciated. Quapaw Nation Youth Connections and CCDF have scheduled Camp Quapaw for June the 22nd to June the 27th. Camp is open to children 2nd through 12th grade. Spots for children are limited. The deadline to sign up is May 22nd or until spots are filled. They're also looking for adults 18 and over who enjoy interacting and teaching children about our culture. Volunteers will be asked to complete an application, and those selected will receive a free t-shirt. If questions arise, contact Kristen Keys, Youth Program Director, at 918-325-2886 or email. Forms can be accessed from the Quapaw Nation website by clicking Forms and then clicking Camp Quapaw. Remember, space is limited, so no time to delay. June the 26th from 4 to 6, the Higher Ed Department will host a graduation banquet at the Fitness Center. Upon receiving your invitation, please RSVP to education.department@quapawnation.com by May the 15th. Be sure to follow their Facebook page titled the Quapaw Post, where folks may stay informed about upcoming Quapaw Nation events. July the 1st from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., the Quapaw Nation invites the community to attend the annual health fair sponsored by the Mobile Integrated Health and the Community Health, and will be located at Quapaw Nation Fitness Center. The event is open to the public and provides an opportunity for community members to connect with local providers and learn about available health services and wellness programs. Elders will have priority access from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and then health resources are available that day. Let's see. They'll have additional health and wellness information available that day. If you're interested in becoming a vendor at the Quapaw Nation Health Fair, please contact Megan Freeman at 918-533-0763, and vendor registration is required and space is limited. July 2nd, the 154th Quapaw Nation Powwow will be held July 2nd through 5th at the Quapaw Powwow Grounds. July 2nd will start the annual celebration with Quapaw Night. July 3rd through 5th will consist of contests and intertribal dancing. Miss Billy Kirkendall will be crowned the 2026 Quapaw Powwow Princess. Head singer is Jade Rubidoux. Head man dancer is Sakuda Shawnee. Head lady dancer is Robin Rulo Shaw. Stomp dance coordinator is Trent Stand. Co-masters of ceremonies will be J.R. Ross and John Arquetta. Co-arena directors will be Jeremy Olson and Raymond Sharp. And finally, the Gourd Society will be our very own Quapaw Gourd Clan. For more information, contact Sean Ellick at 918-290-0026. Their program ads are due May the 1st. Please contact Lana. Camp registration, Chayton Ellick. You can call or text him at 918-325-9107. Last item, it's storm season. If we all got through last night okay, it sure was. Quapaw Nation Emergency Management, they have an alert system that actually works really well, and they send real-time updates on weather warnings, safety tips, office closures, and emergency notices straight to your phone or your inbox. Visit www.quapawnation.com/804/ to sign up or email em.department@quapawnation.com. Also, updates are available by following the Quapaw Nation Emergency Management on Facebook. This concludes the Quapaw Nation Business Committee report. Gunningham.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure. I know that you announced a lot, but I don't recall if I heard the memorial dinner is May 16th.
Thank you so much. That's on May 16th. So that'll be here in the community building following the business committee meeting. Thank you. Great. So we're going to go on to the subcommittee reports. First off, O-Guah-Pah Wisdom Keepers. Thank you, Brenda.
I'm going to fill in for Grace if I can. We've got 2 events coming up. Whenever the hotel gets open at Saracen, we're going to have a bus going down to Saracen and open that up. So, and then we don't have a date on it. I called them last week and they still didn't have anything. And then on June the 21st and 22nd, we're going to go to Oklahoma City to the First American Museum, and on Sunday night we're going to do the summer solstice program they have from 4 to 9. And so it will probably be pretty warm down there. But bring your chairs, and they've got food and vendors and things like that there. And then the next day we're going to do, there's a special exhibit at the, can't remember, the exhibit C or something like that. It's another museum that's right there by the museum on ribbon skirts and the meaning of ribbons. And then we'll take the rest of the day for the museum and then come home that evening.
And you said that's June 21st and 22nd?
Yes.
Wonderful.
We haven't got reservations for a hotel yet, but Melanie's working on those.
That is great. Thank you.
And first Thursdays, 1 o'clock in the museum classroom. Unless it's busy, then we go to the craft room.
I think we've got that lined out now, Brenda.
Okay.
Great. Culture Committee, Barbara.
Good morning, everybody. The Cultural Committee had their meeting yesterday and was quite informative for all of us. I hope I don't forget anything. We did recap the spring gathering. Felt like it was very successful, especially the powwow that night. A lot of people attended. It seemed as though it was the largest one that we've had, spring and summer, or fall and spring and fall. So, and we felt like everything went really well, and we appreciated all of the different departments that participated and took place and took care of everything that happened throughout the day. And we did approve a letter to send to each and every one, thanking them for their services. We discussed the crown, sashes, and shawls for the upcoming powwow, of course, and for the tribal nation princess and junior princess for this coming year. And those all seem to be prepared and in line and ready for each and every one. We talked about the updates at Red Oak. Downstream is preparing for probably an extensive redo because it's well needed after all these years. And they're getting ready to participate in upgrading the old Buffalo Grill into a new Red Oak, which is larger and more capacity. And so we appreciate that. We talked about the ICW program. They came to our meeting last month and let us know what they had planned for taking over, sending information about the tribe to children and young adults that might be wards of the, not wards, I guess, but participate in the ICW program that throughout the United States that don't live in this area. And so there has been a map prepared to send in the packet by Everett in the cultural department. It's quite extensive. It's very, very impressive. I think everyone will be impressed by it. And then also a brochure to go along with it, explaining things about the tribe. And one of the departments is preparing a coloring book. I understand by Emma that she's preparing the pictures in this coloring book, and we went through it. It will have Quapaw words and hopefully some of the suggestions that the cultural committee made will be included in that. And I think everyone will be very, very impressed and pleased by the outcome as soon as it's put into products. We're really thrilled about it. We also met with the communications department several months ago. We asked them for creation of some short videos with Quapaw ways, just maybe 2 or 3 minute, like I don't know, I compare them to YouTube videos because that's what I watch, but they called them something else. I don't know what the new term is for those kinds of things. What? shorts or something like that. Anyway, about like preparing pork and corn or pounding pecan butter or just different things like that to create those. And so we're going to plan to move ahead with that now at this time, and talked about some topics that'll be for discussion and probably feedback. So the language department, we well, that was a coloring book. The language department was the one that had that. And then the next meeting for the cultural committee, and anyone's invited to attend that might have some ideas or some things that they want covered by the cultural committee. It'll be May 14th at 11 a.m. at the education room at the museum. And I think that's about it. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Crystal, my assistant here is helping me. We discussed a banner. The cultural committee last month decided that because we can't participate specifically on the 4th of July with the celebration that the area is having for the 250 year celebration on Route 66, we have these banners that were presented. Crystal's showing them. And we chose the one that's in the blue that has the Route 66 logo on one end and the tribal logo, the seal on the other end. And that will be on display for a couple of months downtown, somewhere along Route 66. I understand the business committee wanted to prefer that we have two of them, one place near the museum area and then one place downtown on Route 66 and we thought that was a wonderful idea. Thank you very much for that. And we talked to the communications department about creating that, the one that we have there, and we were assuming that the maintenance department would be able to take control of putting those in place. So I guess we'll leave that up to you all to decide. But thank you anyway, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That must have been a marathon meeting yesterday. Constitution Committee, Vance Gilmore, could you please unmute Vance?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Vance.
Thank you. Since the March 21st Special Indian Council General Council, the Constitution Committee has reworked the preamble, and we are working with the Quapaw Language Department and the Cultural Department to finalize some wording and aspects of the preamble. We continue to meet weekly. I'd like to encourage anyone of the nation to attend. We are continuing to gather feedback. What we are doing currently is we are looking at major components of both drafts, such as super statutes, citizenship, executive branches, and other issues. And we're just reviewing those aspects in both drafts. Once we complete those reviews, then we're going to start the redrafting. At July 4th Indian Council General Council, we will provide an update on where we are at. And then our timeline has us completing our work by no later than mid-November so that we can meet the 60-day request to have all materials in hand before the March 2027 special called Indian Council where the draft will be presented. As we do our work, one thing that would be helpful is if anyone in the tribe holds a JD or a paralegal in any jurisdiction, I'd like to gather that information. So if you would just self-disclose, please, to Brent at brent.devine@quapawnation.com, I would appreciate us gathering that information. So thank you.
Thank you, Vance. Appreciate it. Election Committee, Lori Schaefer, you're ready to go.
Is this on? Okay.
It is.
So election time is officially here. The filing period has opened. If you're interested in running, you need to file before May 18th. That's the last date. Also, if you know anybody who will be 18 before the election in July, please have them registered so that they will be able to vote on election day. Any questions?
Wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, Lori. Cybersecurity Planning Committee, anything to update, Mikhail? Pardon me? Lori, I think it's for the election committee. Enrollment, excuse me.
When people come in to get new cards, make sure that they are registered to vote and ask them if they would like that on there.
That's the current practice, Lloyd? Yes, that is the current practice, Brenda. Bless you. Mikhail, Cybersecurity Planning Committee.
All right. Well, we're going to hopefully start training for all of our staff and committee members and other users of their system in May. And this will be a yearly requirement for all of our users. And the two last big changes coming up, I will be announcing, and then basically we're going to be by default blocking anything outside the domestic United States. And the one that will be a little bit harder on our users is we're going to start restricting USBs. So I plan to coordinate that one a bit more in the near future.
Mikhail, thank you for that update. Powwow Committee, anybody? Anything? Good morning.
Good morning. We did have our cornhole tournament last night. We had 6 teams show up, and we had a good time. We made little over $1,000. So
That is
for the
wonderful.
folks that were there, everybody had a good time, and we, like I said, we do have our golf tournament coming up at the end of next month. So I think we have 11 teams right now, so we still have 14 spots open. So just everything's still rolling along pretty smooth and just getting ready. So still appreciate everyone and coming out and having fun yesterday evening. So despite the weather that was headed our way. So thank you all.
Thank you, Sean. Any other committees? All right, Chayton.
Good morning. For the annual powwow, the gates for the grounds will open up June 19th. Registration will start on June 22nd through July 1st. And then the gates will close at Sunday on July 12th. Every weekend of May and June, everyone's available to come down to work on their camp to get it nice. We're giving people that opportunity for 2 months straight every weekend to come down and work on their camp.
And that's just on the weekends, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Yep.
Good. Any other subcommittees or standing committees? All right, let's go on to the executive director reports. So the executive director reports are targeted to the business committee. If others in attendance have questions for them, please we'll take that up in open forum. Those reports were posted to the tribal website earlier this week, and we'll now hear hopefully brief summaries of those reports directly from the executive directors. CFO Eric Boone.
Good morning. I can definitely keep it brief. March marked the halfway point in our fiscal year. In March, the general fund received $3.2 million in revenue, bringing our total for the fiscal year to $21.8 million. Our actual expenses in March were $3.3 million, bringing our total for the year to $26.8 million. Our tribal member health benefit for the month of March was $621,000, bringing our total for the year to $3.4 million. And then the other highlight, I guess, in March, our tax revenue was $250,000 for the month of March. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Trenton Stand, Executive Director, Resource Management.
Good morning. I'll try to be brief for me, not that guy. That's really short. Realty, they attended the probate training and also set in on some opportunities for additional funding for probate in the hopes to expedite more probates being processed. To me, I mean, what they need to do is get more judges and seats to hear more probates to process more probates. But that doesn't seem to be the action that they're taking right now, but we're going to do our part and hopefully obtain some additional funds to try to push some more paper over to them and highlight where the deficiency bottleneck actually is in the program. Because right now, as I don't know if everybody's aware, we used to have administrative law judge in Oklahoma. They moved those out to Albuquerque, so now it's just everybody being processed out there, and that's where the bottleneck lies. Environmental department, outside of the normal scope stuff, set in on consultations, 303D consultations and follow-up documents. Was planning for the rescinding or planning for the consultation for the rescinding of the water quality standards regulatory revisions to protect tribal treaty rights, reserved rights. That's that's big for us because of the safety aspect that we were hoping to be able to get around some of what safety caused by that was approved in 2024. So we'll see how that goes. That's scheduled for the first part of May. Thursdays, I don't think was mentioned. The recycling at elderly housing and the new tribal housing area that will run is planned to be running on Thursdays for that new recycling. They attended training for mining waste reuse. That was just a webinar. Quapaw Cattle Company side of things, they had some customer cattle are down, but on the flip side, we've purchased some, so our numbers are up a little bit. Should see that kind of trend that way, but also start seeing some more revenue in the few months, because basically Mitch isn't holding animals as near as long, just due to the current prices. We're already exceeding our targets on those, so why keep feeding them when we're exceeding significantly the market right now? So we're taking advantage of that. He's entered into negotiations, and we're hoping that it's going to end in a 50-50 split on the calf crop with, the customer cattle I know I've mentioned before that we're currently feeding out at the Maury place, which could add, potentially 100 calves on the cow-calf side for us. They got about 400 calves to work this spring so far. He looks to start that next week. We did receive notification that we will be receiving the AMP funds. And that was a project where we were trying to get some additional buffalo fence built, but the state of Oklahoma didn't have square footage cost for buffalo type fencing, so they were able to accept Nebraska's rates, but he just hasn't got that all buttoned down. There'll need to be a site visit, so that funding for sure won't happen until after that site visit takes place. So we anticipate that being later this fiscal year. I already kind of covered all that. This kind of goes both for QSA and environmental. Outside of air and water, on the Superfund side, projects are slow, work slow. Ed's doing what he can to kind of balance that out. So he's going outside looking for projects to keep everybody busy. It's caused a little bit of tension with employees, you know, that were used to putting in those 40, 50 hour weeks. Not able to do that, but he's doing his part. We got to follow up this next week on a meeting that he had Thursday and Friday. So hopefully that bears fruit. But in the meantime, he's just balancing what he has to not run through all that, to make it last as long as possible until additional projects are funded in 2027. Let's see. Food sovereignty, that's where I missed it. It was cut off on that page. Their total sales for the month was almost $10,000, a little over 9,500, I guess. And they had a couple days the mobile market didn't make it out due to weather. So that's been pretty good deal so far. Hopefully that continues and the new doesn't wear off of it. I know downstreams has been good for them, and they like to see them come up there. They have a lot of plants. I know Chair Supernall mentioned that they're open today. If you guys need plants for your garden, they have a bunch of them. So go down there and get your hands on them. I'm hoping to do that myself. They have, she already mentioned the mobile market, the community garden. Didn't mark that off. Community garden on the 20th. So we got, Jean Ann was able to get scheduled the electric portion of the greenhouse and the red barn to completion, or the greenhouse should be completed this month with some minor items to take care of that Jerry's been helping her with. So that's huge for them. We're excited for that. The rainwater catchment is near completion. She had a leaf eater that she had ordered that came in, and Jerry and her crew's also helping her get that all ran into to the water catchment tank. So now's a good time of the year to get it filled up, because we're hopefully keep getting some rain. Let's go on down to the wildlife codes, conservation. So Buddy's side, he spent a lot of time working on the wildlife codes, revising, commenting, and now scheduling some meetings and discussions with ITC, as you guys are aware of, other tribes to talk about what that looks like for us getting into agreements with them, as the 5 civilized tribes have done. He attended and completed a 3-day National Environmental Policy Act training sponsored by the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society, and attended the Oklahoma Intertribal Conservation Summit organized by Cherokee Nation. The new back here. So in my report, you guys will now see some data on the processing plant, and it's, you know, a live document. So we'll kind of figure out, work through what the business committee likes, doesn't like, and we'll go from there. But basically, comparing to March of 25, you know, our turnovers down 62%, which is a great thing. But on the flip side, our cattle harvested and bison harvested and stuff like that was down too, which is just the current market that we're in right now with the shortage of animals. Not only on the cattle side that's in the news everywhere, but the bison side. Also, they didn't have as much snow in Yellowstone and places to get those bison out of the mountains, so those numbers are down as well. So we'll be working through that document. The blast freezer, I hope, is being wired up next week. I was out a few days the end of this last week. I didn't get to follow up with Wade, but they had all the wiring ran, the transformer all taken care of. It was getting close to the point of just connecting the machine to the building, so hopefully that is scheduled and we can start utilizing that piece of equipment as soon as possible. There's some equipment there waiting on, a slicer and things, but they've had kind of the big kicker for them that we're hopeful for is they've had 3 set downs with new clients that seem to be very interested in bringing business here. One of them is for sure, they've been here before, they're coming back, bringing everything back. So we're looking to fill some of these gaps that you guys see in those numbers, to fill those and increase them soon. So Barry, appreciate Barry's team for getting us some marketing material so that we can shoot out to folks and get our name out there a little bit. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Trenton.
Right, and I just want to say thank you. I reached out to Red Cedar Recycling, and with Earth Day approaching, I know it's a continual effort, but I just want to give a shout out to our environmental department and their efforts in being stewards to help with the recycling and with the solid waste management. But Red Cedar Recycling, for the month of March, bailed 145,000 pounds of cardboard, aluminum, plastic, tin cans, and glass. Well, you don't bail glass, but I mean,
Right.
so I just want to say thank you, because between that and the other tribes in Northeast Oklahoma, as well as personal recycling efforts and commercial efforts.
Yep. Thank you. I'll let them know.
Good. Jerry Helms, Executive Director, Quapaw Facilities Authority.
Good morning, everyone. I was wanting to explain the decision to demolish the old OLC building. Every measure was taken to see if the building could be salvaged, even bringing in the architects. And it was decided that this building could not be remediated because of all the mold issues that was there. When it was originally built, the contractors did not use a moisture barrier under the concrete slab that it set on, and that caused several problems: moisture intrusion, foundation damage, flooring issues, and health risks due to mold growth. The southwest corner of the building had a grading high point, which allowed the water to flow east toward the entrance during heavy rains, creating water runoff issues at the main entrance. On the south and west side of the building, the bottom brick course was below landscape stone and the concrete walk, which was starting to deteriorate the brick. The corrugated metal had corroded and was separating, allowing water to be trapped in the wall cavity. Any and all damage would have to be repaired, and all the metal would have to be replaced due to not being able to match up metal colors that changed over the years. There was visible mold contamination and water damage throughout the building. The existing plumbing created design layout restrictions, which means plumbing would have to be rerouted to accommodate employee occupancy. The southwest corner of the parking lot would have had to been milled down and resurfaced due to high grade elevations. And another deciding factor to rebuild is because all existing buildings around the old daycare were higher in elevation, allowing rainwater to discharge towards that building and ditches. The site needed to be regraded and brought up to the correct elevation. If not, we would have been constantly sinking money to repair those issues. I was on site periodically throughout the demo so I could see the issues that were in the architect's report. Water was trapped in the wall cavities and roof areas. As soon as the walls came down and part of the roof, water started dripping out from the interior and roof insulation. On the southeast end of the building, some of the thinner iron had already corroded with rust and broke in two with only the interior wall holding it up. So, we tried every effort to save that building, but it would have just cost more money than to put in something different. Thank you.
Jerry, thank you for going through that explanation. I think that's really helpful. Steve Stand, Executive Director, Tribal Member Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start off with the Higher Education Department. There are currently two individuals. I don't feel like, is this working? Okay, now I can. There are currently two individuals going through the application process for the mentorship and job shadowing program. If approved, that will bring the total now currently to 6 individuals. The departments that are involved are Quapaw Counseling Services, OLC, Communications Department, and the Language Department. The Higher Education Department is also working with Drake University again this summer to host 2 of their program's interns. The interns will be working with the Higher Education Department and with the Environmental Department. They will be part of the mentorship and job shadowing program. Their addition will bring the mentorship and job shadowing participants to a total of 8 for the summer. Summer 2026 funding opens May 1st for traditional funding and concurrent dual credit funding. Family Services has revised their general assistance program process, including the job search verification and check pickup process. This will now be conducted by appointment. Appointments will be made available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Applicants will need to call the Family Services to schedule an appointment. The goal is to improve the service delivery of general assistance, as well as improve the due diligence of confidentiality and the safety of the tiny home clients that reside there. Moving on to the daycare centers, both OLC and DLC daycares are planning Mother's Day activities. The child care director, Sarah Chandler, sent 1 person from each center to adjudication training as part of their effort to strengthen internal processes and improve overall efficiency. By equipping team members at each center with the knowledge and skills needed to manage adjudications, we can significantly reduce the administrative burden currently placed on HR. The approach will allow for far more direct oversight and real-time tracking of adjudication statuses at the center level. Ultimately, the goal is to strengthen the adjudication process, minimize delays, and achieve a faster, more reliable turnaround time while maintaining accuracy and compliance. Title VI is they are having self-serve classes for the staff, and they will be held on April 28th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that day they will be closed just for those classes, and they are taught on site by IHS. The Title VI Mother's Day lunch will be held on May 8th. The enrollment department currently has 6,275 enrolled members, which has increased by 12 from last month. There are 1,803 registered voters, which was an increase by 2. So that's good because last month it was a decrease. There are currently 2,923 head of household and 4,232 who are 18 and over. So that's a number that we need to get everybody, registered to vote. So, and that's a big significant number from the 1,800 registered voters we have. So we are excited to announce that the Enrollment Department's new employee, Laura Rollins, she has already proven to be a great asset to the department. Laura and Carrie are both working on linking family members in the One Tribe software, because that's a huge process. The Enrollment Department will soon be working closely with the Cultural Division, along with other departments, on the new enrollee packet to give to all new tribal members when they get enrolled, to provide them with information and programs they may not be aware of. And they're also trying to work on ways to get the word out as far as, registering to vote and stuff. And they've got some ideas that we will be presenting to kind of get the word out, and, especially before this election and stuff, trying to get more registered voters. The Fitness Center's Commit to Be Fit weight loss challenge ended with a total weight loss of 77 pounds, 16 ounces. For all 29 participants who completed the challenge, women lost 44.7 pounds and the men lost 32.5 pounds. So, usually it's kind of the opposite. Men lose these. The Fitness Center is excited to have Landon Newton, a new employee through ITC, on staff. Social Services processed 1,353 applications in March, which was an increase of 5 applications. So they're still just holding steady with the numbers. And the total amount paid out was $461,703.77. The EFA program has assisted 207 applications from October 1st through March 31st, totaling $95,519.11. The remaining balance of $9,480.89 is available on a first-come, first-served basis, subject to funding availability. Currently, almost 91% of the FY26 EFA funding has been spent, and we are only 50% through the fiscal year. So it is coming to the end, per the policy and the guidelines right now. So they're really tried to watch that, and hopefully we'll work through that process. Laura, we've moved EFA over to the Enrollment Department, which has really helped know more information and stuff, because the Enrollment Department knows more information on, tribal members than like the Social Services Department. So it has helped with the process. So, and that's all I have.
Well, thank you, Steva. Appreciate it. Executive Director, Department of Public Safety, George Valier.
Good morning.
Morning.
Fire and EMS responded to 13 fire calls and 260 medical calls last month. Mobile Integrated Health had 50 home visits, 10 transports, and 17 medication deliveries. The 911 Communication Center had 1,495 emergency calls and 7,168 non-emergency calls. Quapaw Counseling saw 217 active patients. The Adult Protective Services has 13 active cases. Indian Child Welfare has 46 active cases. Juvenile Affairs has 12 active cases. Probation has 41 active cases. Quapaw Nation Courts heard 66 cases last month with 5 individuals in custody. The Quapaw Supreme Court had heard 2 cases last month. And the Quapaw Nation Marshals had 567 calls for service with 18 arrests. Quapaw Nation Fire and EMS and the Quapaw Nation Marshal Service were recognized at an awards ceremony held at the Coleman Ballroom and hosted by the Miami Police Department. Stephen Harper and Kim Freeman attended on behalf of the agency, which was presented with a plaque honoring the department's actions during critical incidents in Miami, Oklahoma throughout 2024 and 2025. This recognition reflects the professionalism, coordination, and dedication demonstrated by personnel during high-impact events. Also, from March 9th through March 11th, Quapaw Nation Marshals assisted in a coordinated search effort for the two missing Welch girls, alongside with Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Kansas Bureau of Investigation, Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, Ottawa County Sheriff's Office, and the Quapaw Nation Fire and EMS. This multi-agency operation involved extensive ground search efforts and resource coordination. While the search did not produce the desired outcome, it represented a continued and necessary step in ongoing efforts to bring answers and closure to the families of the missing individuals. The Marshal Service remains committed to supporting these efforts whenever requested. Every agency engaged in the search expressed their appreciation for the support provided by the Quapaw Nation.
Congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everett Bandy, Executive Director, Culture.
Good morning.
Morning.
This month for the Culture Division, we had March got warmer weather and we had increased visitation. So at our museum and gift shop, we had over 70 visitors and made $5,439 in gift shop sales, which was a nice month for us. Our new gift shop inventory continues to be well received by our customers, and I'd encourage everyone to come and check out the new products that we have in. Our museum also successfully had a CPR and AED training on March 10th, and we successfully installed the new special exhibit for this year called Quapaw Sovereignty Through Time. It covers early diplomacy, governance, the colonial period, the treaty period, the development of the business committee, and the Quapaw flag. So far, visitors that have came to the museum have liked the exhibit, and we are planning on hosting a special opening like we did for the one last year in the near future. Our language department wrapped up its 8-week-long winter class. This class was a remote online class. We like to offer at least one of those every year to try and target our tribe members who are not able to make it in person or don't have good availability during certain times of the day. It was also our first class using a new interactive platform. We have a partner that works with tribes and their language programs that provides them with some software for free, and we have ownership of all of the curriculum that we develop. The students who took that class provided positive feedback for it. They also conducted planning and curriculum development during March for our spring in-person classes. These will be done in our lunch and learn style, which has proven to be our most effective classes in terms of engaging the community and for attendance. They will be taking place on Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the remainder of April and the first week of May, as Chair Supernaw previously described. At the library, we had 74 visitors. They continued their OLC Storytime program. The students have been visiting the library recently, and we also maintained our extended Tuesday hours. Our historic preservation program conducted 219 federal project reviews, and our Remembrance Walk concluded during the month of March. I'd like to thank everyone who participated in that. It was a good tribute for the event, and we had good participation and good discussion. Our staff also participated in several public events, including the Historic Arkansas Museum, or HAM, Territorial Fair, Celebrate Archaeology, which is a event hosted by the Arkansas Archaeological Survey every year in a different place in Arkansas to educate the community in Arkansas about archaeology. And they also provided the traditional meal that was at the spring gathering. They've also continued working on upcoming Civil War class. They are aiming to get that class up and going in May. It's taken a lot of planning, but it's getting close. And they also continue to work on the NRCS Watershed Agreement for Mississippi that we hope will eventually make it to the business committee once we get through all the work there. Looking ahead, our spring language classes will continue through April and May. Our pottery classes will continue to be held on the third week of the month with our instructor, Betty Gadke. Our staff will be participating in several upcoming community events. And we've also been in the research and development process for some short videos for community engagement and maps for tribal member engagement, partially at the request of the Cultural Committee and ICWA program. As always, please feel free to review our full report on the Quapaw Nation website. Thank you.
Thank you, Everett. I know Barry Lindiff had a conflict this morning, so Austin Headley will be providing the report on behalf of O-Guah-Pah Communications and Events. Good morning, Austin.
Good morning. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to be Barry, but please direct all complaints to the actual Barry if you have any. So since our last BC meeting, we completed over 467 documented events across 3 different departments and divisions. And with the election season and powwow up on the horizon, we don't see anything slowing down here soon. From department promotions, digital outreach, to in-person support and media documentation, we're here to support all tribal initiatives. I also want to take a second to remind everyone, if you're graduating or if you know anyone that's graduating high school, college, culinary school, any kind of trade, electrician, please send the information over to us by May 1st with a little short bio and photo. Yeah, we want to support everyone and just honor and everyone as they're graduating, going through this, through the next phase of their career. Also, please RSVP by May 15th if you want to attend the June graduation banquet. Last month we had a technology class for the Wisdom Keepers. It was a 3-day event. We plan to expand that going forward for the rest of the year. I thought it was pretty successful. You might want to ask some people in attendance, but we had a great attendance compared to our last time. We taught them how to access their phones, the internet, the tribal website, and just miscellaneous questions they had. And also a big thank you to everyone who participated in the online auction. We raised over $600 for the higher education and family services through the ribbon skirt online auction. So thank you for everyone for your generosity. We're actively streamlining our workflow and working with the BC to reevaluate our billing structure. That way we can maximize every dollar spent. And all the while we continue to aggressively pursue outside clients. The scale of our work confirms that O-Guah-Pah Communications is a vital driver of visibility and engagement for the Quapaw Nation. The workload is real, the demand is growing, and the value of the department is evident in both our volume and our request. Gonna go.
Thank you, Austin. Good update. Let's go on to reading correction and approval of the electronic polls. Member Buffalo, would you please take the only one we had last month?
Yes, ma'am. It's poll number 51885, purchase request QSA Cat D6T dozer. Poll is for approving a QSA purchase request for a Cat D6T dozer for chat remediation projects. This was sent to a poll because the seller has had other offers on it. Poll was approved 7-0 and certified on 4/2/2026 at 7:12 a.m.
Madam Chair, I would move to adopt the electronic polls as presented.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any discussion on the electronic poll? All those in favor of approving the electronic poll as submitted, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries and the electronic poll is approved. Let's go on to new business. Member Mercer, would you please take the first one?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is resolution number 041826A. It is a resolution to approve the replacement on the pavilion. Whereas the Food Sovereignty Program is requesting the purchase of a replacement pavilion to replace the one lost to inclement weather. The pavilion will be used as an outdoor classroom, event space, and material staging area as needed by the department. The replacement will be funded using insurance proceeds from the lost pavilion. Having solicited qualified vendors and conducted due diligence in accordance with the purchase policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist, and therefore be it resolved that the purchase of the replacement pavilion is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I recommend we adopt resolution number 041826-A.
We've got a motion to approve resolution 041826-A. Business Committee, is there any additional discussion?
Just want to make sure that those plans are evaluated and vetted, because the plans somehow slipped through on that past pavilion and it was not a safe structure even to start when it was constructed. So we need to consult an outside construction expert. Like to make sure we do that.
Anything else? All those in favor of approving resolution 041826-A, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Madam
the,
Chair, I abstain.
thank you. Anybody vote no? The motion is approved. Let's, Vice Chair McKibben, would you please take B?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 041826-B, a resolution to amend resolution number 101915-A, requesting the Secretary of Interior to take a parcel of land consisting of approximately 200.3 acres, more or less, into trust for the benefit of Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee desires that title to the land described below, hereinafter referred to as the property, be conveyed to the United States of America in trust for the Quapaw Nation, see Exhibit A. Whereas the requested acquisition by the United States is fully consistent with the policy goals of the federal government in using trust acquisitions to address the needs of Indian country, as contained in the provisions of 25 CFR 151.3B, which states, subject to provisions of federal law authorizing trust land acquisitions, the Secretary may acquire land for a tribe in trust status when the land is located within exterior boundaries of the tribe's reservation or contiguous hereto, when the tribe already owns an interest in the land, or 3, when the Secretary determines that the acquisition of the land will further tribal interests by establishing a tribal land base or protecting tribal homelands, protecting sacred sites or cultural resources and practices, establishing or maintaining conservation or environmental mitigation areas, consolidating land ownership, reducing checkerboarding, acquiring land lost through allotment, protecting treaty or subsistence rights, or facilitating tribal self-determination, economic development, Indian housing, or for other reasons the Secretary determines will support tribal welfare. The property is being used as pasture for the tribe's buffalo, cattle, and agricultural purposes within all or part tribe's original reservation, and the tribe intends no change in land use. Whereas the nation owns 100% fee interest in the subject property, also being part of the Quapaw Strip or original Quapaw Reserve, all or in part is contiguous to tribal trust property. The adjacent property already holds trust status for the tribe and is contiguous to the subject property and is within the tribal consolidation area. The additional land needed for the tribe is to facilitate tribal self-determination and cultural growth. There will be no change in land use. The property is being used as pasture for the nation's buffalo, cattle, and agricultural purposes. There are no plans for the development of this property at this time. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee deems it appropriate in the best interests of the tribe to apply to have title to the property as defined herein, placed into trust by the United States of America for the benefit of the tribe. Now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby requests that the Secretary of Interior by and through his/her authorized representative take the land into trust title to the above referenced property of approximately 200.3 acres, more or less, for the benefit of Quapaw Nation. Be it finally resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby authorizes the chairperson of the Business Committee, vice chair of the Business Committee, or an authorized representative of the Business Committee to execute and submit a fee to trust application with respect to this property to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and to execute grant deeds and conveying title to the subject property of the United States of America to be held in trust for the Quapaw Nation. I recommend that we adopt resolution number 041826-B.
I would second with the notation that this land is in Kansas and be the first out-of-state trust land we have.
We have a motion to approve resolution 041826-B. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? I did want to add a couple of things. This is a pretty big deal for us. As Member Buffalo stated, it's the first time we are getting land into trust outside of the current state of Oklahoma. Number two, this has been in the works since 2019. It's been stuck in an appeals process based on an objection the state of Kansas raised. that has since been overcome. The only reason we're having to approve a new resolution, because the initial one was done back in 2019, is because the BIA changed the rules on us. And when they do that, it changes the requirements in terms of the way the language needs to be presented in the resolution. So this is important. This is the old Penn Welch property that many people may be familiar with based on that name. So this is important. This is a positive move on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. So this is good. Anything else? All those, oh, excuse me, go right ahead.
Reason it's Penn Welch, that is where Penn National was going to build a casino.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041826-B, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion carries. Resolution 041826-B is approved. I'll go ahead and cover Resolution 041826-C. It's a resolution to approve Juvenile Affairs Department procedures for informal adjustment agreements. Whereas the Business Committee finds that the Quapaw Nation Juvenile Affairs Department will benefit from written policies and procedures to guide its staff to fulfill their obligations under the Quapaw Nation Children's Code. Whereas the department is in the process of developing comprehensive policies and procedures, and in the interim has developed procedures for informal adjustment agreements to provide clarity and to direct the process for the preliminary inquiry requirement within the Children's Code, and for the consideration of informal adjustment agreements in appropriate circumstances. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Business Committee hereby approves the attached Juvenile Affairs Department procedures for informal adjustment agreements and appendices A through F effective immediately. I so move that we approve resolution number 041826-C.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any additional discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution 041826-C, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion carries. 041826-C is approved. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take D?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041826D, a resolution authorizing Chief Marshal to sign the annual Equitable Sharing Agreement and Certification, ESAC. Whereas the Equitable Sharing Program administered by the United States Department of Justice and or the United States Department of the Treasury provides for the sharing of federally forfeited assets with participating law enforcement agencies, and whereas participation in the Equitable Sharing Program requires the annual submission of an Equitable Sharing Agreement and Certification, ESAC, which outlines compliance with program rules and regulations, and whereas execution of the ESAC is necessary to maintain eligibility for participation in the Equitable Sharing Program and to receive and utilize shared funds in accordance with federal guidelines, and whereas the chair of the Quapaw Nation Business Committee is the authorized signatory for such agreements, and the Business Committee finds it appropriate to delegate signature authority for the ESAC to the Chief Marshal for administrative and operational efficiency, and whereas the Chief Marshal of the Quapaw Nation is the appropriate official to execute such documents on behalf of the nation's law enforcement agency. Now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby authorizes the Chief Marshal to sign and submit the annual Equitable Sharing Agreement and Certification, ESAC, and any related documents required for participation in the Equitable Sharing Program, and be it further resolved that the Chief Marshal is authorized to take any and all actions necessary to ensure compliance with the terms and conditions of the Equitable Sharing Program, and be it finally resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Madam Chair, I move that we adopt resolution number 041826-D.
Got a motion to approve resolution 041826-D. Business Committee, is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution 041826-D, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion carries. Member Davis, would you please take E?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041826-E. A resolution approving updates to existing policies and procedures, Q 1100, and revising the signing authority matrix to reflect increased approval limits for Quapaw Casino. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee has previously adopted policies and procedures, including policy Q 1100, to establish governance, operational standards, and internal controls for Quapaw Casino. And whereas it is necessary from time to time to review and update such policies and procedures to ensure continued efficiency, accountability, and alignment with current operational needs and industry standards. And whereas management has recommended updates to policy Q 1100 and related procedures to improve operational effectiveness and reflect current business practices, and whereas Quapaw Casino Management has further recommended revisions to the signing authority metrics to increase approval limits in order to streamline operations, improve efficiency, and align authorization thresholds with the current scale and scope of the Quapaw Casino operations. And whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee finds that approving these updates is in the best interest of the Quapaw Nation and its enterprises. Now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves the updates to existing policies, including policy Q 1100 and associated procedures for Quapaw Casino. And be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee approves the revised signing authority metrics reflecting increased approval limits as presented. And be it further resolved that all prior policies, procedures, and approval limits inconsistent with this resolution are hereby superseded to the extent of such inconsistency. And be it further resolved that the appropriate officials of the Quapaw Nation and Quapaw Casino are authorized and directed to implement these updates and take any actions necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. And be it finally resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Madam Chair, I'd move to adopt resolution number 041826-E.
We have a motion to approve resolution 041826-E. Business Committee, is there any discussion? The only thing I wanted to point out is the Quapaw Casino Authority had already approved both the procedures as well as the authority signing matrix. All those in favor of approving resolution 041826-E, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries. Member Gibbswater, would you please take the next one, F?
Ma'am. Resolution number 041826-F. A resolution authorizing the remodel of the main farmhouse on the former property. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee approves the revised bid proposal for the remodel of the house. Therefore, be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee understands that the project will be structured as an owner pay materials format to obtain a reduction in material expense by utilizing our accounts and to ensure verifiable expenses on the project. Be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee gives authority to the Director of Agriculture to oversee the project and issue the notice to proceed to the contractor. Business Committee, I move to approve resolution number 041826-F.
We've got a motion to approve resolution 041826-F. Business Committee, is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution 041826-F, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries. All right, this is our last one on new business. Member Mercer, would you please take G?
Yes, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041826G. This is a resolution authorizing Catherine Weena Supernaw, Jesse McKibben II, Linda Valier Sigmund, and Eric J. Boone to open a bank accounts for the Quapaw Nation. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee does hereby authorize Catherine Weena Supernaw, Jesse McKibben II, Linda Valier Sigmund, and Eric J. Boone to open bank accounts for the Quapaw Nation in accordance with Exhibit A. Madam Chair, I so move that we adopt resolution number 041826-G.
We've got a motion to approve resolution 041826-G. Business Committee, is there any discussion?
None other than I would point out that one reason one of these accounts is on our new housing development. We're opening an account to put that money aside for the future upkeep on the development. And that way it stays set aside out of the general fund, and we should have the money as improvements are needed in the future.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 041826-G, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries. And that concludes new business. All right, we're going to go ahead and go on to donations. The very first one is the Pineville Ball Program. And I believe that Ray Sean Corbett should be on Zoom. Could you please unmute Ray Sean Corbett? Okay. If Ray Sean Corbett is on Zoom, can you please do the raise your hand electronically on the computer? And we'll go ahead and go to the next one and see if anybody raises their hand on Zoom. Okay. All right. The next one is the Miami, Oklahoma Parks and Recreation. Isabel Francis. Isabel, if you could come up to the podium, would appreciate that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just adjust that. So, yeah.
Okay, I think I did that. So we have 3 tribal members on my son's baseball team. We are looking for a donation to help us get jerseys. The tribal members are Cody Boyd, Liliana Boyd, and then Luca Wooden. And Luca's my son. They play 8U in their division, and as you said, it's the Miami, Oklahoma recreational stuff. So they talked to someone last week, and we kind of got an estimate on how much the jerseys would be. So it'd be $52 each. So the total would be $510 altogether. But anything's appreciated. I know that on the paper it said how would we show that like you guys sponsored and everything. We could put the emblem on the jerseys.
Oh, the tribal seal?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and the place that they talked to, it's in Seneca, Missouri. It's called SXLN LLC. So that's where they would be getting the jerseys from.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Make a motion to cover the cost of those jerseys at the $510.
We have a motion to approve the donation in the amount of $510. Business Committee, are there any additional questions? Discussion points? All those in favor of approving the $510 donation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The donation in the amount of $510 is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Did anybody raise their hand on Zoom? All right, so that's it for donations today. We're going to go ahead and go on to open forum. So there is a 5-minute time limit. In the event the topic requires more than 5 minutes, we'll make an offer of a closed session. One trip to the podium. Please be respectful. Please use the microphone. We received 1 open forum request this month. Mary Heather Dismuke.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'd like to officially announce my run for the member seat. This was a decision that I did not take lightly. Steve and I sat down and really thought about it and prayed about it. I want to thank Lloyd for his many years of service and dedication to our community. His commitment over the past years has made a real impact, And as he steps away from this role, I recognize the responsibility that comes with stepping forward. And I'm also grateful to him and his family. They are really big shoes to fill because he's been making the announcement about not running. I sat with this because I'm running because I'm rooted in this community. I'm no longer outside looking in. I'm actually a part of it. This is the longest place I've ever lived in one time in my life. I know our strengths, I know our struggles, and I believe in our future. I'm driven not by titles or attention, but by the belief that we can always grow and be better. This way we can move forward with purpose and not hesitation. And that's my foundation. Rooted, driven, accountability. If I say it, I stand on it, I own it, and if I get it wrong, I'll fix it and answer for it. This is not a campaign that I'm building on empty words or familiar promises that fade after Election Day. I'm not here to continue that cycle. I'm here to break it. Because this campaign is not just about me, it's about all of us. It's about refusing to stay silent when change is needed and stepping forward when it would be easier to step back. So I'm asking you to stand with me, not because it's comfortable, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. I'm ready to work, I'm ready to serve, and I'm ready to be held accountable for every step of the way if selected. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on agenda topics? Virginia Mouse.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Y'all know I don't need this. So I have a couple of questions. I looked over this agenda, and I appreciate that there was only one poll. That was nice to see, that everything wasn't considered an emergency. But I do have a question. Each one of you are paid over $10,000 a month. And here we see 8 decisions total. That comes to about almost $8,000 a decision. Do you feel like you earned your money this month?
Virginia, I will answer that in this response. I'm not going to directly answer that question, but I will tell you that I feel like I do work continuously, whether it's Monday through Friday. I have never held a position where I've held myself to just a Monday through Friday. If my phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, I answer it. If my phone rings at 4 o'clock in the morning, I answer it. Yep. If I'm called to cook for a family, to honor that family, and that's not even part of being on the business committee.
That's correct.
I serve this nation to the best of my ability.
And it is appreciated.
And I will continue, whether I made the salary that is there. I don't run based upon salary. I've never worked a position in my entire life necessarily based upon salary. I value the people. I value the relationships with the people. And if you want to look back, you recently was at QNGA.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever sit and equivalate your decisions based upon a dollar amount?
No, and there were times that I worked over 24 hours when the need arose. And that's not my question. My question is, you made 8 decisions according to this agenda.
I believe that waxes and wanes as the stuff comes before us in different months. Some months we have several. Some months there's, like today, is just a handful. The day-to-day stuff sometimes gets taxing. Sometimes I don't even think it's worth it, to be honest with you. I'd, go back to 3 days a week and fishing 3 days a week. But, and less stress. So, it kind of waxes and wanes with the month, depending on the number of things that come across our plate. So, does this month look light? Yes, it does. But some months, it's not even close to worth it to me.
So were there only 8 decisions made this month?
Oh, there's more than that. There's side discussion all the time in these meeting rooms when we have an executive director come in to say, hey, should we do this or should we do that? And it's not based upon something that needs to go to resolution.
Okay, so thanks for that clarification. So are under Robert's rules, for it to be an actual decision of the business committee, there have to be minutes, there have to be discussion, and there have to be votes. So can you tell us what those dates or where those minutes are so we as citizens can look at those as they should be available?
We take notes during the meetings, but there are several of the discussions that happen that things go back and forth. We may discuss things one day and we haven't necessarily made any decisions, and we come back and we think about the things that have been presented to us, and then we come back and we have another discussion. Sometimes with some of the things and some of the projects that are happening, those projects take some time to go through, and we go through on a daily basis so that we are making sure that we are covering all of our bases. We're looking at all of the stakeholders. We're considering all of the stakeholders. We're taking the time to be methodical about what we're doing. We're doing the research that we need to do, and we're making sure that we have our due diligence before we come up and we say, yes, we want to bring this to a vote. No, we don't want to bring that to a vote. I take those notes. Those notes are all they're documented. They're all in the documents and the Quapaw Nation's computer system. It's all there. It's not out there open for public view because of the back and forth. It wouldn't be appropriate to put the back and forth out there for people to really see, because we don't know if that's what the decision is actually going to be. We want to make sure that whenever we put things out into the public, that it is what's actually happening. It's dangerous to put stuff, oh, well, we're considering this over here. We don't know. We think this is going to happen. Something else comes up. It doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. Well, why didn't this happen? There's a multitude of reasons why some things don't happen, but we want to make sure that anything that goes out there is going to be truthful and honest, and it's going to be actually what is going to happen, not something that is speculation. Speculation can be dangerous, and we won't do that to our people.
Question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but back to my question. I'm not asking for the back and forth. I'm asking for the motions. I'm asking for the
You see
decisions.
the motions and the notes.
I'm
You see
asking-
the motions and the results of our votes are in our resolutions.
So I'll give you a perfect example from today's meeting. There's resolution 041826-F, the remodel of a farmhouse. So a lot of our working sessions, we actually have had to take site visits to understand the nature of what the external quotes were as we went through the procurement process to make those decisions. That's reflected in the working session notes that Secretary Treasurer Valier is describing that ultimately culminated in that particular resolution. So that's the formal vote. Even though there was much discussion going back and forth, why is it costing this month? Let's go take a look at what this quote is really covering and to determine if that's the highest and best use of those funds available. So I'm just trying to give you an example
No,
of
I
what Secretary
understand.
Treasurer Valier was describing.
The results of our back and forth and everything end up in the resolutions. It ends up in these decisions. If it's something that we're not ready to vote on or we're not ready to make a decision on, it's not going to be out there. When we're ready to do it, it comes up in the resolution.
Still don't feel like my question was answered, but thank you for your time. And some point this week, I will be filing for Secretary Treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Does anybody else wish to speak? I see Bonnie Shock and Barbara.
On a more positive note, I know that the Kansas being on the staff during the time when the Kansas Strip was brought up and being in Kansas and the downstream was built and so on and so forth. Congratulations to the committee for getting that put into trust. That's been a long, hard battle with the state of Kansas, and I, for one, appreciated that 25-mile strip, 5 miles wide approximately, has been on our history for years and years and years, well, since 1890. And I appreciate it, for one, that you've been able to succeed in getting Kansas to agree to that. That's a milestone in the history of the Quapaw tribe, Quapaw Nation. Secondly, for anybody that doesn't think that you all do something and that the past business committees haven't worked hard, some back in the day when there was no money, there's probably 2 people in this room that realize how far we've come monetarily, and that's Lloyd and me. Back in 1974, our budget was $25,000 a year. And Eric Boone said that this month it was $31.8 million. Now think about that, people. Think about that. $31.8 million compared to $25,000 a year for a nation to succeed. You know, sometimes we don't feel like we've succeeded, and compared to some other nations, we probably could say that we don't, but we do, and we have, and hopefully we can continue to, just like we are now. So, you know, let's try and move forward in a more positive manner. Now, my last thing is a question about me personally and my campsite. It has not been mentioned lately, and it's only 2 months till powwow. What's being done about the creek bank? I'd like to know if there's been positive or anything about the creek bank. It's washing away. My campsite's washing away. One of these days it might fall into the creek. Who knows? You know.
Oh, me
So-
too.
So if I could get an update on that, that'd be wonderful. And thank you all for your work on especially the Kansas thing. I know it wasn't all up to you; it was mostly up to the state. But anyway, good luck. Keep going. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll probably fall in the creek with you. We're on the same line down there. Be my luck.
I'll send you.
Yeah, somebody throw me a floaty, will you? No, it's been quiet for a little while because I've been waiting on the final estimates and the final version of the project itself. Got it all back, working with QSA, between QSA and facilities to do an internal project and a 3-phase approach, hopefully starting next fiscal year. So once I have the rest of the logistics, I'll say everything all at once instead of just piece by piece by piece.
It won't be done before powwow.
No, it won't be done before powwow.
I think Bonnie
Yeah.
had her hand raised. Excuse me.
Got you.
Bonnie, did you have your hand up?
I did.
Okay.
And my question is on the pavilion that came down, is still sitting there. I know it was purchased by a Quapaw person. I'm not saying anything against the Quapaw person that purchased it, but it's been sitting there for 2 years. Do we get rent from this person from that sitting there for 2 years? I mean, that's a storage unit as far as I'm concerned.
Trenton, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So what we've had is a problem with the mover, and so Ed got involved. Rogers got it moved from where you seen it, where it fell, to now where it's been setting for the past 2 months or so. So the last update I received from him, they were working around some work schedules for the movers, but I need to follow back up to see where that's at. Mitch had a good idea on, because what we feel like the problem is that they said they could do something they obviously can't do without problems with roadsides, mailboxes, and everything that you guys common sense
It's
says.
going to take everything down the future
Right,
farmer
yeah,
road if
exactly.
if you move it out there.
But the proposal that Mitch brought up said, well, why don't you just bring it across the Hart property, get Brady to give you approval to bring it across his property to line it up with the dirt road where it's going straight north to where it's going anyways, because then on that dirt road there's no signs, there's no mailboxes, nobody lives on it, and so then there's, I think, only 2 issues on the next mile section, so it would be less cumbersome. So we've got some information to give to Ed, to give back to the mover, to try to say, hey, we think we know what your problem is, why you're not moving stuff. What about this? Can we get it moved? So we're working on it. We're going to follow back up this next week. That's me and Mitch just had that discussion because he was tired of seeing it too. So hopefully
Okay.
we'll get it done.
But no, they are not paying rent, Bonnie.
Well, I think we should charge rent, storage, or something for this. Being on the tax commission, I'm thinking of, okay, how can we make money on this guy sitting on our property and he's not moving and it's been there for 2 years? Come on now. If he had to put that in storage someplace, he'd be paying storage on it. So okay. And then I have another question. On the open position on the Economic Development Committee, does the person have to live here to be on the committee, or can he be on it remote?
For the new Economic Development Committee, they can be remote. They don't necessarily have to be here in this. There's, they do hold some Zoom meetings and
Okay.
and hold
appreciate
other
that.
meetings. They don't necessarily have to be in person.
Okay, and I have another just 2 more quick things. We on the tax commission will severely miss Perry. He was an awesome person on our committee, and he brought a smile to our face every time he was there, and we will severely miss him immensely. And my third thing is I would like to, a lot of you don't know that my son, Cody Thomas Schock, is now an employee of Saracen, and he will be the assistant general manager for Red Oak, and he loves it down there.
That is fantastic.
Absolutely loves it. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Anybody else for open forum this morning? All right.
If I may make a few
Yes, sir.
comments. As everybody knows, I'm not going to be a candidate for office this year. I've decided after nearly 56 years, it's time to get the younger generation involved. Wife's not too happy with me. I think she likes me gone. But, I thought, who would replace me? I'm a firm believer that as this nation progresses, we need educated people on this committee. Not just a downtown person, someone who has an education, who can think for themselves, who thinks it out before they make a decision. And, I asked Heather to run because in the last 2 years I've observed that in Heather. Some people think that she's a rabble rouser. At times she is. But you have an ethics commission to take care of rebel rousers. So, yeah, you do. If you get an ethics complaint against a member of the business committee, you can have them removed. I know what the ethics commission says.
grievance committee.
Go to the grievance route, but I
Point
think
of order. Member Buffalo has the floor.
I think that Heather would be a good fit on the committee. I don't think that she's going to raise heck on the committee. I could be wrong, but that's the person I think will do the committee well and serve them well. So I have no problem endorsing Heather.
Anybody else for open forum?
Amy, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you made your statement last month. I believe that you know, this isn't easy for me to talk about, and people will think, oh, he's just saying that for Roman. But I believe we need to get this done because Roman said he's called on business committee members and he's just heard nothing but crickets. He was his character was kind of put in a bad light. If that was going on, what that email said with his character, we should have had an investigation into any subcommittee that had this stuff mentioned on it. And the only person that had knowledge of that is our chair for 45 days. And I can't find anything in the governing resolution that gives that power to the chair to withhold that information from the rest of the business committee. If there needs to be an investigation, something like that, with any kind of financial misappropriation, that needs to be looked into. And like Roman said, he's heard crickets, and I'm just trying to be an advocate, and I'm trying to be an advocate for the rest of the business committee because nobody else wants to say anything. And, you know, it's not easy because you have to walk into the room and work with all these folks every day and have discussions. But at the same time, we did investigation when we thought there was somebody sharing salary information that they got in a FOIA. So we had a special meeting to say, hey, there's a chair of this committee that's possibly sharing this information. Well, it's like, well, how can we prove that? But, you know, there's been stuff that's been brought before us, and this has seemed to kind of gone unnoticed. And I'm just trying to get this thing behind us, and I want to get it over with. And I want to know how each of the business committee feels, because I don't think it's appropriate for the chair. She was asked by this professor to share that email with us, and it wasn't shared until we actually voted to have that shared with us. So I just, you know, power and exploitation of your position is not only financial, because we've seen that a couple of chairs back. And if this goes unchecked, who knows where we are down the road a couple more years. So I just want to hear everybody weigh in how they feel on this particular topic of this not being shared with us in a timely manner. Because and also this chair of this committee, it was a unilateral decision to shut off their email while they were still in this position. And it was not brought before the whole committee to vote on. So that's just where I'm at.
Anybody else? Y'all want to entertain Vice Chair McKibben's?
I would probably echo Manzi's words.
I can echo that to an extent, and then I can also see, I try to always look at a situation with two sides. And I can see two sides of it. I can see that, yes, we maybe should have been notified sooner, but then I can see also maybe at the end of the day trying to protect an individual, but in essence, it wound up not being able to protect an individual. And the individual I'm saying is you, Roman. I'm saying that maybe, yes, it should have been brought to our attention sooner, but I can also see another side that without discussion from anybody at this table right now, at this bench, that it could have possibly been trying to protect you at the same time. So how it played out, I'm not the most happily pleased with, but at the same time, Roman, I love you. And if it's caused discontent, I apologize for that, and I hate it. And however we can to move forward from it, I want us to, because we have so many things that have been before us that has hurt us as a nation. And I don't want that. We have so many positive things that we do as people, but yet sometimes we get in way of ourselves also. And again, just know that I love you all.
Have you ever heard the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? It's quite relevant in this particular situation. If I had it to do over again, I probably wouldn't do it the same way. That's for sure. Nobody's really ever asked me why I did what I did. And shutting off an email address was absolutely the wrong thing to do. So I should not have done that, Roman. That was a mistake. The reason I didn't share that whatever that email traffic was with the rest of the business committee is because I had very, very strong reason to believe that it would have immediately been sent to Roman. And I didn't think it was right. I didn't want it to get out because I thought it was hurtful. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's what I had to say. Could we get a microphone to?
I personally thank you for finally saying that.
Nobody's ever asked.
Well, I was going
Everybody's
to
always
ask you.
accused.
In fact, I was going to ask you. And I really appreciate you finally responding to it. The only thing missing was I'm sorry, but I do applaud you for saying what you did. And I agree. We need to get behind this, but thank you for saying what you did.
Yes, ma'am. I think,
I just have
Jerry?
a question on the FOIAs. A FOIA is something that any tribal member can ask for, right? Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we get a FOIA and if we want to share with another tribal member, is that not acceptable?
Under the current guidelines, it's prohibited.
Why is that?
That defeats the whole purpose of a FOIA. It's a freedom of information.
Exactly. So
it's,
why should we have something stopping us from talking with other tribal members about something that we've got?
There isn't anything that does. Even our attorney told us that it's freedom of information, that it's
Right.
okay
So
to
any
be
tribal
shared.
member can ask ask a question, and if they're able to get it, any other tribal member should be able to get that same thing, right? So if we ask for a FOIA, should we get everybody's signature put on there to ask for that information to be able to share?
So I think you guys are raising a really good point in that I think this calls for a change in the procedures that are out on the website to be able to open it back up. So, at least I will bring this to the rest of the business committee and see what else, that plus
Right.
anything else that we may need to change regarding the freedom of information.
I appreciate that because that's where I think a lot of tribal members feel we're not getting transparency because we're trying to hide things. Whenever we have information, if we can't share it, then we're hiding it, just as the business committee is hiding it. If I ask for something, I should be able to share that with any other tribal member. I can see not out on social media or putting it out there for anybody else, but I feel like I should be able to share it with a tribal member because we all should have that same information. Just because people haven't thought to ask for that question, I just think it should not be our policy.
Thank you, Jerry.
Amy, I want to thank you again because my intention is never to shirk my tasks, and this is something that people voted for me for, to say the hard things and to have the hard conversations. So I thank you for really kind of calling us out last month at the General Council meeting.
I don't know who was next, Roman or Virginia.
So back to the Roman situation, actions speak louder than words. Why have we not sent a letter to Professor Reese correcting this misunderstanding.
So we'll bring that up. I don't think it's ever been discussed among the business committee.
It's been
However,
requested many times.
Okay.
And actions speak louder than words.
Roman.
Good morning, Business Committee. For those of you that shared on this, I appreciate your willingness to speak on it. I feel like this is just more of that runaround, though. You say, let me ask you, Secretary Treasurer, you're the keeper of documents. I've requested from this podium for something to be said and for my name to be cleared of this. Do you have record of that?
I do have record in my notes, yes.
Do you have an email that I sent to the entire business committee, 2 emails that I sent to the entire business committee, one stating this and then one making a formal request?
I do. And we all have that in our email.
Madam
We
Chair,
all
you
have
just
the
said
email
that
you
it's never
that you
been
sent to
brought
us.
up. I've been asking repeatedly. I've had people from this audience belittle me over this, and it's not all right.
My apologies, Roman. I didn't describe it properly. Your information, your emails have absolutely been received, but the business committee, the 7 of us, have never discussed it, to my recollection. I don't have a good answer for you. It just hasn't.
To me, that is not holding up your fiduciary duty to protect tribal members. You said you were trying to protect me. This was during an election. There were 6 other people who were running for a business committee seat, and you held on to this information and you deprived them of that information. Do you understand that? Professor Reese received this information from someplace, this inaccurate information from someplace. 7 of you were in that meeting where information was transmitted that she was referring to, and she received that information incorrectly. Madam Chair, do you know how she got that information?
Don't.
There are 2 people who had relationship with Professor Reese outside of the Constitution Committee and before you spoke with her. And she received that information before you spoke with her. So that information was transmitted incorrectly somewhere along the way from this body. And I requested for that to be corrected. Our committee was disbanded. We had a lot of momentum going at the time. And because of your decision, Madam Chair, it sent us in this whole path that we've been on for the past year. You doubled down in a meeting between the business committee and the Constitution Committee, and you were adamant that Stanford did not want to work with me particularly. And I'm a grown man. I could take that. I could accept that. But you never said why. You never shared with everybody else why that was an issue.
Roman, I'd like to discuss a little bit about my perspective on the different things that I read in the email from Professor Reese and the emails that you provided as well. To me, it appeared that there was a whole lot of misunderstanding on several different levels. It was hard to kind of see who was misunderstanding what and where the information came from. So that made it really hard to be able to address directly. one of the things that I recognized in there, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you don't feel like this is what the issue was, is that there was an issue of a claim for your requesting for or making a statement that there would be a payment to Stanford. Am I incorrect in that?
That was one of the two.
Part of that issue.
Correct.
Okay,
That we
so
could not proceed unless payment was made.
Stanford could not take, because of it would be unethical for them to take any kind of a payment. You, in one of your emails, had even made the comment that you had made some kind of an offer for a retainer. Do you understand that a retainer is a payment?
Yes.
Okay. So that was, for me, that was like, okay, well, you said that you were offering a retainer to them. She's saying we can't take any kind of payments. And then you're saying that you didn't say that.
Madam Secretary Treasurer, those are different conversations. And if you would have looked into this as much as you've looked into
I'm
Robert's Rules of Order
you
to try
my
to tell me
perspective
that
and
I was
how
wrong
I understood
from the
the
beginning.
situation from the emails that you received, that we received from Professor Reese, as well as what we received from you.
Mhm.
Is
I
that you had
received an
even
email
stated,
from
I'm not here to
from
argue
Ani
with you,
Jennings.
Roman.
I received an
I
email.
have the floor, and you're
No,
speaking over
you
me.
interrupted me. I'm sorry. I had the floor. The floor was not given to you, Secretary Treasurer. The floor was given to me, and you interrupted me. So, to what you just said, I received an email from Ani Jennings saying that they could potentially work, but they needed a lawyer to oversee what they were doing. That's in our email. And for that, they would potentially need a retainer. This was before the discussion even happened.
And see, I never saw anything where they were asking for a retainer. What I saw in your email to us is that you did not, you made the comment in your email, and I'm sorry I don't have it here, I wish I did, that you did not request for them to, or you did not make a comment that we would give them a payment, but we could give them a retainer. That was what you
Not
had
accurate,
stated
no.
in your email, and that was one of the things that I caught in all of that. And that, I feel like that is part of the misunderstanding. This is where misunderstandings is stemming from, is that misunderstanding of payment. And what does a payment mean? What does a payment mean? Is a retainer a payment? A retainer is a payment. So I feel like there was a whole lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of confusion as to what is actually transpired in all of this. And your emails and her email made it confusing as to who was saying what, where, when, why, how. So it made it very difficult for all of us to really look at it and discuss it, because we're all trying to get information to clarify what's actually going on here.
When did you look into it?
We've had multiple conversations.
You guys
have
just
brought
said that did they
different
not just say
information
that they haven't looked
to
into it?
us.
You just told us that you didn't look into it.
I was referring specifically to a letter to Professor Reese.
This isn't the place to litigate this, obviously. As the Secretary Treasurer, I'm disappointed that you don't have a better recollection of what those said. I laid out that document to you with clickable links to make it easier for you, and still it's not accurate. I mean, this hasn't gone nowhere, but thank you for bringing that up, Vice Chair. Chair Davis, thank you for sharing what you said. This ain't going nowhere, though, obviously. It feels like you're doubling down on why you're right. And there was no investigation into ethical red flags. And that's okay with you. In the middle of an election where other tribal members could have heard and benefited from clarity. So, shame on you both. And the rest of you that aren't speaking up, shame on you too. I'm disappointed. You had the opportunity. Everybody sat here and waited. Sorry.
Roman, I have a quick question. Did you offer Professor Reese that we would provide a retainer?
No, I did not.
Thank you.
Anybody else for open forum?
I sent that recording actually to Chairmember Ramsey, so he could share that with you if you want. There was an entire conversation about it.
I just got a little bit. Yeah, shame on me for not saying anything a moment ago, but I was trying to wait until everybody kind of had their piece to say, because usually I try to go last and let everybody speak on something, because everybody is much older than I am. That's just kind of the way I was raised, you know. Or let that play too much of a part in a lot of things that I say, I guess. Yeah, I don't like how it was withheld. I don't like how it blew up in our face. But I can recognize why and why you said. I can see both sides of it. But it's kind of like you said, we really aren't getting anywhere. So, just to offer solution, right? You see, how about we move to have a meeting with Professor Reese and Roman and us by the end of this month and hash this out. Come to some form of resolution, something. Find some kind of closure to this issue. Because quite frankly, we have a million other things to take care of on a daily basis other than dealing with the conflict like this that was caused from multiple angles with multiple personalities, multiple characteristics, and multiple criticisms from everybody involved. Knives was out all the way around. So it's not singular to one person or any group of people. It's singular, it's all of us. But anyways, just trying to think of a more thoughtful approach, more thoughtful solution. We'll just get together and hash it out. You guys opposed to that?
I'd be in favor of it.
By the end of this month, get with her. Uncle Roman? Yeah, yeah. And Aunt Jen, earlier, what you asked, it's not so easy to quantify the work this position has to have by this sheet of paper. It's much more than that. Do I feel like I did my money's worth this month in work? No, I probably will never feel like I ever did. But that's you know, my own sight to it. I won't never feel like I'm ever ever actually worthy of this position for the rest of my life. So
But the reason I asked that question is you guys constantly tell, do I need to do that? You guys constantly say transparency, transparency, transparency. If in fact there is true transparency, then these minutes, these emotions, and these decisions are somewhere that should be made available for the citizens. That was the whole point of that. But you feeling like that and Linda Davis feeling like that, that's part of the reason that you two deserve the seats that you have. I can't say that for the rest of the members. There's a couple more members I could say that for, but there's a couple members that I cannot say that for. But that's what makes you, and that's how we raised you. But that's part of it, babe. But the point of that was the transparency that we don't have, that everybody claims that we do. That was the point of that. And it didn't come out the way that I meant it to come out, but that was the point of that. Still love you.
yeah, still love you too. I just wanted to give you an answer to the question you asked.
Appreciate it. Oh, I would have pulled you aside because I wasn't done talking about it. So I'm going to go finish my donut now.
All right. Anyways, that's all I have. You know.
Thank you, sir. Yes, it looks like Barbara.
Yes, I'd like whoever made the comment a while ago about the ethics committee. Who was that? And Lloyd. Okay, the ethics committee. Well, there's several things. The ethics committee, as maybe some don't know, I know of the documents, originally had a document that was written by the ethics committee. Guaranteed it might not have been legalized, legalese in it. But as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Drummond Woodsum had someone, or the business committee, perhaps directed them, I hope, they just didn't do it on their own, created a new ethics committee document and was handed to the ethics committee prior to the meeting that it was accepted on at General Council. 24 hours before, I'm told. Because I've dealt with the ethics committee in the past few months, I found that this document is very, very time constraints. Or they're not time constraint. Well, time constraints as well as other constraints, and it isn't a working document. It's not a good document. It needs to be looked at again. It ties their hands from actually, Lloyd, doing anything about anything. Now, and this stems from on the Gaming Commission, and I'm not going to say very much because I'm surprised that I was put on there in the first place. But the gaming should be autonomous. The attorneys should be autonomous. We should not have to work with attorneys that are under other attorneys. And the first Gaming Commission worked with the individual that mostly guides and directs the business committee and could not work with the gentleman. And so there was another man assigned to the Gaming Commission that knew nothing about gaming. Nothing. And so he's learned. I'm not saying he hasn't learned something about gaming, working with the Gaming Commission, because he has. But that's not fair. That's not being autonomous. That's not keeping your regulation separate from your administration in any way, shape, or form. Leading back to the Ethics Commission, I don't know how many grievances have been filed. I've been told by many, many people they've filed grievances. I filed 2 grievances about gaming and about the wrongdoings of gaming at the time. We were under criminal investigation, for one, and then other issues. And I don't want to get on my soapbox because I want to try and be positive. I want this to be a positive outcome, not a negative outcome. But almost everyone I talked to, and I don't know how many grievances were filed with the grievance committee this year. And the head of the grievance committee is Heather. And so everyone that I have talked with about it said that the grievance committee found no merit to their grievance. I have yet to find anybody that actually got a result from the grievance committee. So what do you do if you don't get a result from the grievance committee against the business committee? Because it was unethical, you go to the ethics committee. And this document that the ethics commission has can't help you. It cannot help you resolve that the way it's written, the way it was forced upon, what I was told, forced upon the ethics committee to deal with. So please take another look at that document. Get an ethics document and a grievance document that actually works. It's not all the grievance committee. Individuals that are on the grievance committee need to have their personal feelings set aside when they go in and meet with those grievances. And they don't. Some of them don't. Some do. I'm not saying all, because I know the individuals that do and the individuals that don't. And just as I try to do and have all my career, keep your personal and your business. And if you can't do that, then you don't need to be on the committee. That's just me. But it's worked. It's worked for me for 77 years. And so I like the ethics document and the gaming documents. And I'd like Woodsum and Drummond to go away. But I would like these documents reviewed, because I really feel like down in my heart, and I speak from my heart, you all know that, you're trying to do the best you can do, But the people out here in the programs are trying to do the best they can do too. But they have to work with these documents. They're not workable. They're just not workable, folks. We need to fix them. They can be fixed. You know, just like we have met with you all and can take the old ordinance and the new ordinance, we've all agreed, and create a new one. And believe me, we're wanting to work towards doing that very thing today. And I think it'll make it better. So I'm looking forward to that, you know, as soon as some of the other issues are taken care of. But I don't know if the other programs have to deal with things like that, but the ones that I know of that people come to me and call me up and ask me my opinion on, they need to be fixed. So can we fix them? Let's try and move forward and fix them, please.
According to the current governing resolution, they're the only body that has the authority to produce or put forward, let's say, an updated code of ethics is the Ethics Commission. And anecdotally, I think one or two of the members have told me that updates are in the process. The Business Committee needs to stay out of that. The Ethics Commission can and should put forward productive changes to make things better. First time out of the gate, very rarely are we 100% right. Not unexpected that good improvements need to be made. And then the only body that can approve those changes is General Counsel. I would defer to the ethics commissioners who can speak to the timeline.
Yes, actually. And I am the newest member on the commission, so I was not part of creating that first document. But when I came on board, I was told that they were handed a document that did not even resemble the document that they submitted for approval so that we could vote on it at General Counsel. It was told to me that they were given a code of ethics, a new code of ethics, and they had a 24-hour period to approve it, which it did not get approved by anybody on the commission because they didn't even have time to read it before it was presented. So that's the document that we're working with right now, and I promise you, we have our hands so tied that we have not been able to help anybody. And we did get our attorneys, and they concurred that this document is impossible to work with. And we're asking why the grievance committee has a one-page document and we have a small book. And it is full of things that tie our hands. And we've had some really serious complaints come through our commission that we have not been able to help anybody. And we are currently rewriting our code of ethics with the help of our attorneys. And we will be asking you guys to put us on the agenda for, the July General Counsel. So hopefully, we can get a new document to where we can function as a commission. Because like I said, we're the last stop for a lot of people. And if we can't do our job, I mean, quite frankly, I feel a little guilty even being paid because our hands are so tied. But I can justify it because we are writing a new code of ethics. So, anybody else?
Brenda?
That as Lloyd spoke about the grievance committee, the ethics commission, we don't cover grievances against or complaints against the business committee. So that was up to the grievance committee, and they refused and said there was no merit to them. We've tried to get a grievance against the grievance committee to do their job.
I think if I recall correctly in the code of ethics, the way it works is if something is presented to the ethics commission, some sort of allegation or proof of wrongdoing on the part of the business committee, the ethics commission is required to evaluate what I'll call the severity of the accusation. And then when it has to get referred to the grievance committee, but that referral does that business committee member, this allegation, is it so severe that they should be suspended from pay and basically temporarily suspended from their duties, if I recall correctly.
Yes, but we only have a 5-day window. That's one of the things that is tying the hands of the commission, is that in our documentation, it really only gives us 5 days to respond.
Got it.
And it's impossible. We can't make it. And immediately, if we don't meet that window, it gets thrown out because we can't adhere to those outlines.
So I'm sure that's going to be some of the updates or
Yes.
those
yes, it
deadlines.
absolutely is. Yes.
Heather?
Usually the grievance committee gives their report at general council. For last year, we had roughly 20 grievances. Mind you, I haven't gone through my email to check the count. And mind you, we're not talking about like one grievance. We're talking about sometimes we get one grievance with 10 subjects, and we have 30 days to investigate. And we take that very seriously. And yes, there are some grievances that we received that were no merit. But the thing of it is with the grievance committee, when an individual files their grievance, we go to the business committee. We keep that individual private 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, the BC also knows what that grievance is already about. We bring that individual before the BC and we try to have that conversation and find a general way to move forward. So that way it is resolved. When we say no merit, it's because we can't call special general counsel on every grievance. I'm sorry. I really wish every grievance we could call a special general counsel, but it's not feasible. And some of the grievances that we have received, we've been able to resolve in-house. So to say that we are not doing our jobs it's like slinging mud in all of our faces, every one of us, and everyone on this business committee. And I'm not okay with that. And you guys say that it's my fault because I'm the chair, but there's 7 of us. We are all equals. I don't outweigh any of the other people on the grievance committee. We are all equals. We all make that decision equally. We all sit together. We have those conversations. We take this very seriously. And there has been some grievances that have been filed that it's not the BC doing the wrongdoing. Sometimes it's the individual doing the wrongdoing. And we can't do anything about it. It's not within our purview. And I'm sorry that people don't think we're hearing them, but we do hear you. We sit with this business committee and have those conversations to resolve it. And to throw us under the bus every single time, then what you're doing is also throwing general counsel under the bus. Because general counsel voted us to sit in that spot and do the work of what you guys want, and to make sure that these individuals are held accountable. And that's what we do. And that's what we do. And we meet every month. We take all your grievances very seriously. There is some months where we work 60 to 80 hours. But we take everyone's grievance seriously. We have those conversations. And to say that we don't, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying that you don't do anything or don't do your job. I'm saying the process, there's got to be some error in the process. If the grievance committee meets with the business committee on a grievance against the business committee, why do they not meet with the individuals that are addressed in the grievance? They did not meet with me. I filed 2 grievances. I'll be honest, and I don't care that anyone knows what they were. I had to go back to the gaming commission to get permission to give them the documents that they were requesting about my grievance to prove that I was citing the rules and regulations correctly, and gave them like 20 pages of information, and still there was no merit. They didn't interview anybody that was listed on the grievances other than, and not even me. But they apparently, just like she said, came to the business committee. Well, if you get a grievance against the business committee and you go to the business committee, whose opinion are you going to get? You know, there's a fallacy in the process. If there's no process to give a due process to the individuals to find out really what happened or what their opinions are, then there's no use to even have a meeting, or there's no use to even file a document. And that's the way I feel now. After filing my documents with the grievance committee and talking with other people that got no merit to their grievances also, it was the same thing, the same process. Maybe you need to look at your process. If you talk about it for hours and hours and meet with it for hours and hours, there's something wrong if you can't figure out something to do about issues other than go to general counsel. That's not what it's called for. The grievance committee was not set up to have to go directly to general counsel to take care of issues. That's not the reason for it.
When you look at our document, we have two options. We either meet with the business committee and resolve it in-house, or we call a special general counsel. Those are the only two options that we have. We do investigate, and when I say we took your grievances seriously, we interviewed everyone that you listed in your document, except some individuals, because we were running out of time. Okay? We emailed you and we emailed you and emailed you. You sent your documents in. We did our due process.
And I had to get approval to send you those documents from the gaming commission because they were.
But we are only tied within our 30 days.
You didn't interview me.
Because Barbara, you gave us everything. You gave us everything to process it. But I do not feel like this is like the appropriate time to keep having this back and forth.
I agree.
But we did our due diligence. And I'm sorry you didn't feel that way, but we tried to resolve it in-house. But by that time, it had already taken it out of house. And once it's taken out of house, we can't be in those conversations.
Thank you. It was resolved between the gaming commission and the business committee.
Yeah,
Finally,
and the prosecuting attorney.
No,
and
the
the criminal
prosecuting attorney
investigation.
didn't have anything to do with it. Not resolving it anyway. The business committee and the gaming commission resolved the issue in-house. Or that's my opinion anyway.
Thank you, Barbara. Member Mercer, would you please close us out in prayer?
Oh, before you do, could I just say one more thing about this? Even though the grievance committee found no merit in her complaint, then she filed a ethics complaint against the grievance. I mean, since we're sharing, we found merit in her complaint, but because of our severe restrictions, we weren't able to act on it. So again, we dropped the ball. So just saying.
And as we mentioned on the time restraints, they had 30 days for investigation. We have 5 days, and it says we cannot do the investigation ourselves.
Member Mercer?
Oh.
Sean?
Yeah, just on another note, y'all know my name's Sean Ellick, and I just want to let y'all know that I will be, I had put my name in to run for the member seat also this year, so I will be putting out more information on what I'll be running on. So if anybody has any questions for me, you can contact me. My number's all over the place right now, so feel free to get a hold of me if you have any questions or anything, or if you want to sit and talk, you can come find me at my office during the week at the QSA office downtown, and I'll be free to visit with any of you. And so thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean. Would you close this out in prayer, Member Mercer? Madam Chair, I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I would say nay, but I said aye.
Stand